Is Milton just, he's a really good player. How big of a hole is that for you to fill? And, how do you feel about, the job the guys did on Sunday?
Yeah, obviously, you never like to lose one of your players, and he's been impactful for us. But the next guy's got to step in, and the expectations don't change. So, it's a great opportunity for a lot of guys to be able to play more and earn some trust from their teammates. Most importantly, we won the football game, but there's always things that we're going to have to clean up.
The run defense numbers have taken a little bit of a hit over the last couple of weeks. I know it's an easy kind of from the outside to say, well, look, no, it's not in there. But is there something else there in terms of the just looking at the numbers, not going too much deeper than that?
I think the most important thing, regardless of it, is just we know what it's supposed to look like and how we're supposed to play. And there's more things that we need to do technique-wise and some fundamentals to clean that up. Again, you never want to lose a good player, but the guys that are in there, the expectations don't change.
The Giants appear to be really committed to running the football. I think Robert Spillane talked today about how you guys are aware that they're number one in terms of overall rushing attempts. What stands out for you about the way they run the football?
It's volume. So that's the biggest thing. We're fully expecting 40 runs. That's what they've done these last couple weeks. But they're good up front. The backs are really good, and then the quarterback presents issues, obviously, with his ability to carry the ball as well. So we're going to have to do a great job up front. Again, just setting edges, building that wall, and making sure that we're swarming around the ball carrier.
What sort of do you say to a guy like Christian, who now already saw a lot of attention, now is going to see even more attention? Like, how does he kind of work through all those double teams he's been seeing?
Yeah, that's the burden of being a good player. If they're not giving you extra attention, that's a sign of disrespect. So the biggest thing is just going to be, he's going to do whatever it takes for us to win. So we're going to have answers for him to be able to put him in situations to let him be able to go play and help us win.
There's a guy like Milton, he's such a great player. Do you have to change things schematically without him, or do you guys kind of just run the same things and hope that guys step up in those roles?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the guys that step in, they got to take advantage of those opportunities. So, it happened in the middle of a game, and guys needed to step up at that time, and we're going to ask the same thing of them until we get them back.
With Farmer, what does he need to do to make just get on the field? Start with that.
Yeah, just continue to improve. I think that's the thing with all these guys. Like, it's all about continued improvement. Earning trust from your teammates, and that's for everyone, not just him. It's week to week, we're looking for improvement from everybody.
Thank you.
A veteran quarterback and a rookie quarterback, but it seems like both of them kind of like to put it up a little bit. How do you kind of approach that facing potential?
Yeah, definitely. I think they have two different skill sets. So I don't know veteran versus rookie too much, but they have different skill sets. And so I think they may like to feature some different things offensively when, darts in as opposed to Jameis. But I think overall, it's a team that definitely is, running the ball and then, getting some explosive plays in the pass game. So we got to do a great job with either quarterback we see of doing that, eliminating their explosive plays in the pass game and, tackling their backs in the running game, and that includes the quarterback, if the quarterback's running as well.
Yeah. As a defensive coach, you have any experience with, like, the defensive coordinator gets fired? Now the outside linebackers coach is coming in for week one.
Yeah.
Is there any? I know you're on this side of the ball too, but just from your perspective, of any indication of how you might expect a coach like I'm guessing maybe he wants his outside linebackers to eat, and he's going to be putting those guys in position. But can you do much when you take over like that and you got to call a game on short notice like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a wholesale change. I don't think all of a sudden the team will be totally different. But I do think that just like anything else, and whether it's offensive coordinator change or defensive coordinator change, there's going to be some, wrinkles that are going to go in as far as that coordinator putting his own style on what they already have. Yeah. I don't know anything about the defense for the Giants, but, just offensively, right, obviously they kind of changed play callers whenever Dayball was let go. So, just talking about that, you see some subtle changes and you see some things that they're like to emphasize more. And so, I'm sure we'll be ready for whatever they got.
Yeah. Theo Johnson, big
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Seems like Dart too early in the season. Like he gets kind of locked on him. He likes him. And
Yeah.
a big body to throw him up. I mean, your guys probably gonna have to deal with him a little bit.
Yeah.
They like their tight ends. Is
Yeah.
that matchup you guys are keeping an eye on?
Definitely. Good player, has good length, catches the ball with his hands, goes up and gets the ball, and has a solid route tree. So, we're going to have to do a good job of, staying square, staying on body, and playing good on body coverage without fouling,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and, in the red zone as well, he's a guy that they seem to have a good little connection down there. So it's going to be a good challenge for our guys.
Yeah, I want to ask you one more. Like, watching your guys, like we're so used to watching kind of the old safety package with
Yeah.
strong and free, and it just seems like your guys do everything.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, you get to coach blitzing, you get to coach the back end. I mean, it seems like you have your hand in pretty much everything on this defense. Would that be an accurate way and to describe it? And just how have you developed as a coach, knowing all of that, knowing how to teach guys on the line of scrimmage or as far away from the line of scrimmage as they can get?
Yeah, versatility is our number one thing in our room. And so what we try and do is obviously do what's best to help our team win, help our defense be the best we can. And what we feel like that is that having versatile safeties that can be close to the line of scrimmage, play deep, play man, blitz, all that type of stuff. So, as a coach as well, you're always trying to make sure that you're doing drills, that you're doing stuff in the room to help, help them be able to utilize all those skills and do all those things, and not to mention communicate and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So, I think we try and do position-specific drills as much as we can to help with those things. And those guys do a good job of trying to do the techniques that we're trying to get done.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Jalen. Like, it looks like fun. You get to do everything. I mean, you're all over the place. He's like, he's having a great time, but it's just, looks like it's a good time. You get to be involved everywhere across the roster.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Cool.
You guys also seem to disguise a lot in the back end. Just why is that important, do you think, to have no tells or whatever
Yeah.
pre-snap?
I think in today's football, all the film study that these quarterbacks do, all the film study that offenses do in general, I think that if we just give them a one look and they're able to kind of know what we're in, then it's to their advantage. Now, we don't want to disguise and put ourselves at a detriment doing our job, but at the same time, our thought process is that we definitely want to make it hard for them to know what we're in. And so whatever that takes, that's what we're going to try and do.
Yeah, and when it comes to when you guys invert coverages, like cover 2 or something like that, do you have to teach Gonzo and Carlton and Marcus how to play the deep half? How do you kind of put that together as coaches?
Yeah. We're obviously not going to give away, our kind of trade secrets of, who's doing what, but we will say that, there's a lot of meeting together as DBs, we just don't split and meet just safeties and corners. There's a lot of together stuff because we all got to be on the same page communication wise. So that being said, there's techniques that all of us DBs, corners, safeties, nickels have to know. And so, that's that's practiced. And so, that's kind of how we do things.
And then just on Dell, just getting some good reps in the game last week. Like that cover 0 dropout, that was a good one to end the game. Just what have you seen from him, and what do you think he's done to get some more playing time here? Yeah,
so Dell's come in every day, works hard, and obviously as a guy that's backing up multiple positions, he has to be ready at a moment's notice. And so what we found with him is that, he's done a good job of learning without necessarily getting all the reps, right? At one point he's played nickel for us. At one point he's played safety. At one point he's played dime. So we love the versatility. And again, like I said, that's difficult at times for not getting reps at every, not getting first team reps all the time at that, but really impressed with how he's improved, how he's trying to learn in the classroom and then apply that to his reps in practice. And you see in the game, whether it's the Jets 4th down where he's able to stab the ball out of the tight end's hands, or whether it's some plays this past week against Cincinnati, he's been able to do some good things for us, and we continue to hope that he continues to make some plays whenever his opportunity comes about.
When you play a team like this, Giants team leads the league in rush attempts, and you guys know you're going to see quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
What do you kind of tell your guys in the back end? Do about helping out in the run game this
Yeah,
week?
yeah. So I think that each game is unto its own, right? So we have a game plan for each team, and a team that is running the ball at the rate that they are, we definitely know that and understand that. But we can't be too nosy up there that we don't do our job when we're a deep defender. So it's really about reading your keys, knowing your assignment, and then executing your assignment, whether it's a run or pass, because we can't determine whether they're going to run or pass it or not. We can only determine what happens once that ball snaps and we see if it's a run or pass.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Any more?
About getting called up, he said Coach Vrabel told him he had to work on his professionalism and then being more of
Sure.
a pro, and I think he said something about getting his weight in order. Just how much growth have you seen from him, since the summer till now, for him to earn the opportunity to be on the roster?
Yeah, you just hit on it. I mean, just sometimes you get these rookies coming from college, and really most of them, all of them. It's a different transition.
Yeah.
It's becoming a professional. Doing the right thing every day, preparing a certain way, and for him it was that stuff, and getting his weight down.
Yeah.
Being consistent in the weight room, being consistent in meals. I mean, there's all that stuff that you just got to learn to be a professional. Sometimes you got to look back. These guys are still kids.
Yeah.
And so, when you start doing that stuff, Braves can start rewarding you. And been working his butt off, been practice player of the week, and starting to do the right thing and learning how to be a professional. And so when you start doing that stuff, and you get rewarded.
How would you describe what it's been like to work with Harold so far?
I love Harold. I was just a student of the game. He makes your life easy as a coach. You could, give him his corrections and give him the keys this week, and this is what we're looking for in here. And then he'll go back and I know when he's studying, because he comes back and he has questions. He's like, hey, did you see this? Let's adjust to this. That gets me excited. I just get excited because he loves football. Football means something to him. He wants to be good at everything. Not if it's just the drop in, the pass rush, if it's the run. I mean, he takes pride in his work. And just him fighting through stuff. He's just a tough kid, and I love working with him. He's fun. He's energetic. He's always got a smile on his face. Doesn't take things too serious sometimes. He knows when to work and when to play. But man, I've really enjoyed working with Harold. Really have.
What's the challenge when you're preparing for a guy like Jackson Dart, who has so much mobility and ability to extend the plane?
Yeah, I mean that's his number one thing. He can extend it and create things outside of the pocket. Not just running but throwing extended plays down the field, and it's keeping them in. And that's always the challenge every week. When you have these type of guys, some of them look like the Jets look to, he was looking to get out to run it, and you just got different packages, different things. We all know when you're rushing forward, you've got two open gaps, so it's already as tough as it is. And a lot of these guys, are better athletes than us. To be honest with you, some of them like receivers back there.
Yeah.
And so there's stuff that you just got to game it. You got spies. You got to level rush. You got to know who's inside of you rushing. If it's a different athlete with you outside, is it Milton or is it Tonga when we're running games? So there's a lot of stuff that goes in with it, but they're going to get out. We just got to limit those times that he gets out and understand when he likes to get out. Where does he like to get out? Is it over the top? Is it through the B gaps? Is he more a vertical guy when he sees something? Is he going to spin out and roll out? So there's just the stuff that you got to break down and say this is how we're going to see it, and we've got to protect ourselves. Nothing good happens behind the quarterback, so we've got to level when we can, and not level too quick, then he's going to get out. So there's just more than just saying, hey, there's four guys out here, you guys keep them in. Heck, I wish it was that easy. So it's just not. But we just got to be smart and understand our rush lanes and when we can take chances and when we can't.
I don't know if we've talked to you since Elijah got his first sack, and then he got another one. Just how have you seen him continue to improve throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I said in training camp with that kid. I mean, he's another kid that's smart, man, for his age. He's well above, a rookie. He's still got those rookie stuff that you'll see. They're like, what the heck were you thinking? Some couple of those like that. But someone's just like, he just moves like a vet. He's very smooth. He's strong. He's starting to understand, the leverage and stuff. It's just sometimes I just watch him, B-Mac could do. He's over there with me, and we both sometimes just stop and look at each other like, wow, that was pretty impressive that he can bend like that at that size. Just he's another guy that can play multiple positions. Like I said from the beginning, that kid's he's got a bright future. He's got a lot of work to do, but like his first sack was great. It was just a natural game. felt 3 technique higher than him. He knows naturally I'm going to fall back and make it. And understand the quarterback's going to want to get out like that, right? So you can bait those guys to, that think they got a lane, they actually don't. And so he's just getting better every week. There's still a handful of things he's got to work on, and always got to work on. But he's just a kid that man, we're lucky to get him. It was a great find. It was a great one.
Must be fun as a coach just to see like. Anyone has a better question, you can ask it. I was just gonna say, yeah, you can go for
Well,
it.
just really quickly on the run defense. It seems like in recent weeks, maybe not quite to the standard that you guys set earlier in the season. So I'm curious what you've seen and maybe how you can get back to that standard that you set earlier this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is kind of look at what we're doing. Last week, we played a lot too high, right? We're going to be light in the box, and you're going to give up some runs here and there. We're trying to protect the back end, and some of T. Higgins and some of those throw still going to be a lot better than run. Just because we're light in the box doesn't mean we're still a gap and a half, and we still got set edges and build a wall, all that stuff. And so I think you just got to look at it. We got to get better at technique-wise, and just saying, hey, or we'll let you nickel and dime us a little bit, but we're not going to get beat over the top. And that was a little bit of that last weekend, and some things we got to get better at. I think this time of year, you start looking at, because the pads come off. I know Vrabes hit this today. That's part about being a professional.
Yeah.
With Swinson, just because we have the pads off, we can't start raising our pad level. Can't stop releasing off of blocks. Like, we can't get lazy with our footwork and our technique. Just because we're not hitting the sled every day in the pad. So you kind of start seeing that stuff taper off at the end of the year with teams around the league, just because it's a long season and you got more walkthroughs. And so, I know Vrabes always hits it. Even when we're doing walkthroughs and all that stuff, take the proper footwork, keep your pad level down. Don't just walk through the play and not work on that stuff. So you just got to stay consistent at what we do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's do Marcus Jones. What are your thoughts on what he's been?
Back to when we first got here, he just is consistent. He's a model of consistency. The way he takes care of his body, the way he takes care of his routine, the way he takes care of his schedule, the way he takes care of his off-the-field life. I mean, everything that he does is with a purpose. Everything that he does is with a plan, and everything that he does is he gives his all to it. And I've got a high amount of respect for that. And that's the way that a guy that's 5'8", 5'9", and under 200 pounds can be an impact player in the NFL, is through that work ethic, through that attention to detail and intentional habits, which is what he has. It's been awesome to see, and his teammates feed off of that, and hopefully that will continue.
I'll maybe wrap it up with this. Coming to early December, games that matter. It seems like this team has got a closeness to it, players, the staff. I'd be curious what you've observed in that regard, and with the closeness and how that's contributing to maybe this team getting some results.
Yeah, I think in my mind that's the difference between wins and losses, is not so much the scheme, not so much the X and O part of it. It's because everybody pretty much does some version of the same thing, but it's the who am I doing this with, who am I doing this for, and what am I willing to sacrifice, because we all have to sacrifice. And when you have genuine care for the guys that you go to battle with each week, then you put more into that. And it's for us, put us on the right side of the end of the fourth quarter, having more points than the teams that we've played. But it's got to continue. You earn these pressure moments by what we've done to this point, but it also doesn't matter. So we've got to go out and get the next one, just continue to be consistent, which breeds confidence, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Anything else on your mind? You had asked me a question one time. You told me, what would you prefer? A home game in this, or a road game? And so what do you got for me now?
I'm glad to be in the press box Monday night.
It'll
be 72 and sunny up there.
That's right.
So I'm happy about that.
Same. Thanks for the time.
All right.